From Mortal to Divine, a Cultivation Epic, Episode 16. Ken Xiaobian and Lu Degang had just dealt with those two haunting, vengeful spirits who hanged themselves. One person returned alone, carrying a bag, feeling somewhat down because Dagang had discovered that he had taken extra money. After a night of turmoil and exhaustion, Xiaobian finally made it back home and just wanted to get a good night's sleep. But as he opened the door, suddenly, a large hand reached out from inside the door, startling Chen Xiaobian, who quickly stepped back. "Hey, who is it? Why are you fondling me in broad daylight?" However, those large hands continued to reach out and grabbed Chen Xiaobian's face, causing some fumbling. Lu Bo, haha, I figured it out. It's Xiaobian." After the big hand retreated, Chen could finally see that the person who had come out of his own house was Liu Xiaozi, the guy he had met at the market with his father some time ago. "Why do you have time to come to our house? Just made a deal with your dad. Haha, more alcohol to drink." Liu Xiaozi recognized Chen Xiaobian and started laughing, claiming he had just done business with Chen's old man, seemingly in a good mood. "Next time you have some good stuff, remember to let me know." Chen Xiaobian was puzzled for a while. His father had told him that there was no rush to sell the items they had, waiting for someone in urgent need to get a better price. So, what kind of deal did Liu Xiaozi make? "Dad, your handsome and capable son is back. Did you miss me?" After thinking for a while and not coming to any conclusion, Chen Xiaobian pushed the door and entered the house, only to find his father, Chen Lagu, sitting in the main room smoking dry tobacco. "Is everything going smoothly? Your son helped out. No need to mention it." But as soon as he entered, and after a brief conversation with his father, Chen Xiaobian's attention was drawn to something on the table. Chen Xiaobian was stunned and couldn't speak, his eyes widening more and more, as if he dared not blink. "Dad, how can there be so much money? It's blinding me." As it turned out, there were stacks of bright red bills on the table in the hall, and this shocked Chen Xiaobian. He had been living in poverty and had never seen so much money before. "Is this all? Look at you. Such a disappointment, Dad. Ever since I can remember, our family has been teetering on the brink of hunger." For Chen Xiaobian, this amount of money was astronomical, and he stuttered and couldn't even speak properly. He couldn't understand how his father, who had also lived a hard life, could remain so calm. "Sit down. Dad has something to tell you." "Dad, you look so serious. I have a bad feeling." Ignoring the wide-eyed Xiaobian, who was taken aback by the sight of the money, Chen Lagu knocked on his pipe and had Xiaobian sit in front of him, looking very serious. "Listen carefully, son. Yesterday, when you weren't home, something happened in the village." Chen Lagu took a couple of puffs from his tobacco pouch and began telling Xiaobian about what had happened in the village during the day he was away. Originally, early in the morning yesterday, a large group of crows appeared in the sky over the village, circling densely around the village. Rural people have a bad impression of these crows. Legend has it that these black birds flying into someone's home is an ominous sign because they can sense death and feed on carrion. Every time they appear, it foretells someone's death. But the crows that flew in yesterday didn't land in anyone's house in the village. Instead, they all gathered around the village's elementary school. The roofs and electric poles were covered with a dark, intimidating mass of crows. "Could something bad be about to happen? You are quite superstitious. Ha! Fourth brother, get a stick and chase them away." The village's elementary school was not large, and it didn't have many students, but all the children below the 3rd grade in the whole village attended this school. When the parents who were sending their children to school saw this situation, they found it strange. "Second brother, there are so many crows, and they've all gathered here. What's going on? You're superstitious for no reason." "It's because the ecology is better now." Though they found it strange, In recent years, nobody really believed in such things anymore. After discussing it for a while, they decided to let the children go to school as usual, not wanting to disrupt their studies. At that time, Chen Lagu was taking a stroll in the village and witnessed this strange scene, but he remained silent in the crowd. Initially, Chen Lagu didn't think much of it. He thought it was probably due to wild cats or dogs dying at the school, attracting these creatures. However, he then noticed another phenomenon. Chen Lagu observed that many large rats were constantly coming out from under the classroom building at the school. They lined up and scurried toward the outer wall of the school. Chen Lagu took a closer look and saw that these rats seemed extremely agitated, as if they were about to face some imminent danger, sensing some kind of omen. Now Chen Lagu was starting to feel uneasy, taking advantage of people's inattention. He slipped into a narrow alley that wasn't usually frequented. At the end of the alley, in a hidden corner, Chen Lagu found a spot to sit down. He took a handful of glutinous rice from his pocket and scattered it on the ground, forming a small circle. Then he took out a bag of dry tobacco, lit it, and took a few puffs. This was Chen Lagu's signature move. As the smoke rose, before long, the wild celestial being from the northern mountain, Hu Jia Xian'er, was summoned. The houses in this area will collapse, and over a dozen children will die. However, this is a celestial omen, and there's nothing we can do about it. Lagu, you shouldn't interfere. Violating the will of heaven will lead to a shortened life. I also practice the way of immortality and can't help. Upon hearing Chen Lagu's question about the elementary school, Hu Qianer immediately advised him. She explained that this was an omen of a catastrophe, but it was a celestial omen, and people couldn't go against it, as there would be no benefit to themselves. But there's a subterranean dragon behind this, and that creature is about to face a 500-year calamity. It's in a hurry and wants to take a few children's souls to help it avoid the heavenly calamity. What? A subterranean dragon? After discussing the celestial omen, Hu Qianer mentioned that there was an evil spirit, a subterranean dragon, behind the omen, pushing for sinister deeds. She also practiced the way of immortality and didn't dare to get involved. However, Lagu, if you want to do it, I'll help even if it costs me my life. After all, I owe you a life. If worst comes to worst, I can give up practicing immortality and start over as a demon. But she also knew she couldn't convince Chen Lagu. Hu Qianer lowered her head for a moment and then said something else before leaving. After hearing the fox's words before leaving, Chen Lagu thought to himself that Hu Qianer's level of cultivation wasn't particularly high, and she dared to offend the subterranean dragon, to go against destiny for his sake. With his old bones, he had nothing to fear. He flicked his cigarette ash and walked towards the elementary school. Impossible. Do you really think you can disrupt the children's classes with just a few words? Absolutely not. But what surprised him was that sometimes animals seemed to understand things, whereas humans couldn't comprehend. Mr. Chen, I know many people in the village have a lot of respect for your ways, but that's because they're uneducated and superstitious. I'm different from them. And you can't use your tricks to gain anything from me. The principal of the elementary school was the only person in the village with a university education. Having taught in the city for several years, he was transferred back to the village to manage the elementary school after his poor performance. When he heard Chen Lagu say that there was danger for the children going to school today, he immediately began to mock him. I have other matters to attend to, so I won't be escorting you. You're really quite the swindler, convincing everyone to come to school. Before Chen Lagu could say anything more, the principal issued an order for him to leave and rendered him speechless. However, this time, Chen Lagu was determined to handle this matter and wouldn't be easily dismissed. Next, parents who were bringing their children to school saw that the village's former barefoot doctor, Chen Lagu, had found a chair from somewhere and was sitting at the school's entrance, blocking all the children and parents from entering. What is Mr. Chen doing? Who knows what kind of act he's putting on now? The villagers who were preparing to send their children to school were blocked by Chen Lagu outside. They discussed the situation, and more villagers gathered to watch. Some parents wanted to force their way in, but at this moment, Chen Lagu exuded an intimidating aura that made people reluctant to approach him. It was as if a celestial being had descended, far from the usually approachable Chen Lagu. Those villagers who were eager to enter didn't dare to move. Mr. Chen, after we drop off the children, we still have work to do. Why do you have the right to stop the children from entering? This old dog isn't usually so overbearing. Although people didn't dare to approach, their mouths were far from idle, and they complained about Chen Lagu wasting their time. You are disrupting our normal teaching. You're disturbing social order and breaking the law. Soon, the principal was disturbed and came out, shouting and scolding Chen Lagu. However, Chen Lagu remained unmoved and ignored him. At this moment, the principal and the villagers suddenly heard the sound of dogs barking wildly from the village road behind them. Everyone turned to see a large pack of wild dogs rushing toward them, like a whirlwind along the village road. Leading the pack was Chen Lagu's loyal companion, the corpse-digging dog. While other celestial beings practiced the path of immortality and went against omens, this corpse-digging dog was quite unconventional. It wasn't afraid of anything and didn't cultivate in the same way. It had chosen a path that feared neither heaven nor earth. Seeing the corpse-digging dog arrive, Chen Lagu didn't say a word. He snapped his fingers, and the dog, as if receiving an order, raised its head and barked madly into the sky. Then, accompanied by that group of wild dogs, he rushed into the elementary school. The large pack of wild dogs dispersed, surrounding the inside and outside of the school. Then several large dogs entered the classrooms. After a round of barking, the early arriving children were frightened and ran out of the classrooms. These wild dogs barked and chased the children out. Although there was a moment of chaos, not a single child was hurt. Parents shielded their children and were ready to confront the dogs, but when they saw the appearance of the dogs, they hesitated. What are you trying to do with these sorceries? The principal was furious at this point, and he immediately knew that Chen Lagu was behind the commotion, but it was quite uncomfortable for him to use the word sorceries. Lagu, what are you doing? What if the children get hurt? Are you trying to oppose the whole village? Seeing the children frightened, the villagers were incensed and felt that Chen Lagu had gone too far this time. They started to blame him. But at that moment, everyone heard a loud rumbling sound coming from the direction of the school. When everyone saw the situation at the school, they were almost shocked with their jaws dropping. The ground shook, and the row of classrooms at the school actually collapsed from the middle. In an instant, the entire school's classrooms were reduced to ruins. Dust filled the air, and broken bricks and tiles were everywhere. The villagers who had been bewildered for a while finally realized that Chen Lagu, who had been acting unusually early in the morning, had actually saved the children's lives. They turned to look at Chen Lagu. Where did Mr. Chen go? After the commotion, Chen Lagu had already left the crowd. As he left, he snapped his fingers. The corpse-digging dog, with its terrifying appearance, received the command and wickedly grinned for a moment before leading the pack of wild dogs away. At this point, Chen Lagu had already left the village school. In fact, he and the corpse-digging dog had similar temperaments, and he didn't care about omens or heavenly retribution. He had no intention of seeking immortality and chose to act as he pleased. The villagers gathered here were relieved after the scare. If it weren't for Chen Lagu, the consequences would have been unimaginable. They now respected him even more, while the principal was left speechless. I didn't expect that on the day I wasn't here, such a thing would happen. Goi, I'm here. After Chen Lagu explained the situation, he heard a voice calling from outside the courtyard. Goi, I've checked the small project you mentioned. No problem. I'll take it. Is this all you need? All right. Rest assured. I don't know if it's enough, but I'll do my best. I understand. I won't take any labor fee. I'll use the best materials, and if anything falls short, I'll cover it. You saw it. I've sold off my belongings. I want to rebuild a new school for the village. By now, Chen Qiubian understood his father's intentions without him saying a word. He hung his head and remained silent. So, we're broke again. What's the matter? Are you upset? Chen Lagu noticed that his son remained silent with his head down. He thought his son, who usually valued money greatly, might be feeling sorry again. The sum of money involved was over 10,000 yuan. Dad, do you really think so little of me? Money can be earned again, and besides, who said we're out of money? But unexpectedly, Chen Qiubian stood up and took out a small stack of 100 yuan bills from his coat pocket. Throwing it on the table, he didn't mention the tens of thousands that were taken away. I earned this from Qin Demo's troubles. We have 1,600 left, enough for us to eat and drink. You're getting older, and in the future, leave the hard work of earning money to me. Don't worry about it anymore. That's fine. Another sleepless night. I'm exhausted. I'm going to sleep now. Chen Qiubian spoke from the heart, and with a stretch, he went inside the house. All right, let's earn more money and build an elderly home for the village. Chen Qiubian's words warmed Chen Lagu's heart. Even though his son appeared very money-conscious on the surface, he could distinguish right from wrong. Dad, you're being too much. Perhaps this young man's future prospects would be much better than his own. The Chen father and son's hard-earned money disappeared in the blink of an eye, and they returned to their impoverished state. However, Chen Qiubian had grown up and could stand on his own. Chen Lagu felt hopeful about the days ahead.